you everyone for coming, and welcome to the October 28th, 2021 meeting of the CB6 Business Affairs and Licensing Committee. My name is Claire Brennan and I'm the chair of the committee. This meeting is called to order at 6:31 p.m. Tonight we are joined by Community Associate Alex Crawford and District Manager Jesus Perez. Members of the public, you can raise any questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of Zoom. If there is time following the committee's discussion, we will field questions from the public. Susan Steinberg has volunteered to take minutes tonight. Thank you very much, Susan. Now we will take attendance by roll call, and Alexandra will do that for us. Thank you so much.
Sorry, just give me 1 minute. I'm having a little bit of a tech.
That's fine.
Okay, committee members, I will call your name and you will unmute yourselves. When your name is called, please say present. I will announce if there is quorum. Claire Brennan.
I'm here.
Charles Fernandez.
Present.
Paige Judge.
Present.
Anton Malner.
Present.
Seema Shah.
Present.
Susan Steinberg. Susan? Okay. Michael Devereaux. Michael?
He was just here, I thought.
Yeah. I think he's muted. Michael, are you there?
I'm here, present.
Okay, thanks. Daniel Devine.
Present.
Jeannie D'Onofrio.
Present.
John Keller.
Present.
And Kevin O'Keefe.
I'm present. Alex, I think you're echoing.
Okay, how about now?
Still echoing.
Will panelist Warakorn Siriti Pakul please mute themselves? I think that's where the interference is coming in.
Present. You want me to mute, right?
Yes, please mute until your
Okay.
item comes up.
Got it.
Okay, I think we're good. So we do have quorum.
Excellent. If Susan isn't here, do we need someone else to take the minutes?
Yes.
Should I sort that now or?
It would be helpful to sort that out now.
Okay.
May I make a suggestion? Because
Yes.
this is being recorded, do you want to ask her first that if she misses the meeting, would she be willing to take the minutes through the recording?
That would make sense to me, and maybe she'll show up and only need to take a few minutes at the beginning. Is that okay with you?
If that's what the committee wants to do, sure.
She's usually pretty reliable, so I feel like she would be amenable to that suggestion. Thank you, Jeannie.
Sure. And if there's any issues, just let me know.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
I think that we can just send her the recording and she could do the minutes afterwards if she doesn't show up this evening. So thank you. Good suggestion. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and appears on the screen before you. If there is no objection, we will adopt the agenda as stated. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand through Zoom. I don't see any hands up. So seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. Now we have to adopt the minutes. The minutes from the September 30th committee meeting were distributed ahead of time. If there is no objection, we will adopt these minutes as drafted. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting these minutes, you may raise your hand through Zoom. Seeing no objections, the minutes from the September 30th meeting are adopted and will soon be available on the CB6 website. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules that we are all familiar with, but I am still going to repeat tonight. No one may speak until granted the floor. Committee members, if you have a question about committee business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. The chat function should not be used for committee business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us to any technical difficulties you are having or to state in writing information like an email address or contact information that was already stated out loud on the record during the meeting. When a committee member is given the floor to speak, I will identify you and you can unmute yourself so that you could speak. We are required by the New York State law to have a transcript of the meeting. So please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussion. And so now we are going to get into the agenda, but I do want to alert folks that an applicant informed us last minute that they won't be joining tonight. And that's the last item of the agenda, which was a new on-premises license for Cecil Dalton, LLC, doing business as Lagos Restaurant and Lounge at 306 East 49th Street. I'm pretty sure that some attendees might have joined wanting to speak on this establishment specifically. So we're going to keep it on the agenda for tonight and have a conversation about it as a committee, because there are a few updates and just informational points that I want to share with you all. But I just want to alert any attendees who might have just come for this agenda meeting that it's going to be more of an informational discussion and we won't be hearing testimony from the public at this time. With that being said, we can start. We're lucky to have the New York City Department of Small Business Services joining us to discuss the NYC Quick Start programs that they're running. So is that Melody?
Yes. Hi, Claire. Thank you for the opportunity. Let me just share my screen. Hold on. Can you see it?
Yep. It's not in like full screen mode. I don't know. I could see it, but I don't know if you want it to be like a little bigger. Yep, that's great. Thank you.
Okay, give me 1 second. So can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Melody Lee. I'm a small business advocate at the New York City Small Business Services, also known as SBS. Tonight, I'd like to talk to you about a new initiative called NYC Quick Start. In providing services, hold on, give me 1 second. Before I begin, I'd like to introduce our agency, the Department of Small Business Services, to those of you who may not be familiar with what our agency does. We're not a regulating agency. We are a city agency whose whole mission is to provide services at no cost to businesses that are starting, operating, and growing, as well to New Yorkers through job creation and training. We also work with commercial corridors by offering neighborhood development. All of our agency's activities are centered around unlocking economic development and employment opportunities for New Yorkers. In providing services to business, we recognize that it may be challenging for entrepreneurs and business owners opening and operating storefront business in the city. Opening a business is no simple task, let alone understanding all permits and license needed. As we go through challenging times as a result of a pandemic, the hope for this initiative is to help reignite economic opportunities by helping new business open and reopen. So Quick Start is an initiative to help brick and mortar stores, AKA storefronts, open faster and operate in compliance with the goal of helping cut the red tape. Quick Start is a collaboration with other city agencies. For example, New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, Department of Buildings, Department of Environmental Protection, to name a few. So what exactly the key features of Quick Start? Entrepreneurs who are opening a storefront will get a point of contact with a small business advocate, such as myself, to help navigate city regulations. You are guaranteed a 48-hour response time by a small business advocate. Our goal as this initiative, which was launched June of this year, is to cut processing time by 50%. So who are the small business advocates? We are a team at NYC Department of Small Business Services dedicated to help business owners and entrepreneurs by making it easier and faster to start a storefront business and to operate one in compliance. Our services are free. We will help you understand government permitting and licensing needed by providing step-by-step guidance. We're not expediters, or we will not obtain permits or license for you. Instead, we will guide you and will hold your hand through every step of the process. Next slide. We recognize it can be very challenging for business owners because there are many different licenses and permits you will need from the city and state agencies for one storefront. Our expertise and insight will guide you through the process. And if you encounter any kind of delay in opening your new business, we will aim to facilitate our interactions with city and state agencies, as well as some utility companies, such as Con Edison and National Grid. So what are the industries do we support with this initiative? We work with storefront business, brick and mortars, moms and pops, specifically establishments in food and drinking. For example, the restaurants, cafes, pizzerias, delis, bodegas, supermarkets, as well as the retail storefronts and personal care business, barbershops, hair and nail salons. If there's a commercial lease for any of the storefronts, we can help. So there are several services the small business advocates can provide to illustrate. Here is an example small business advocates can provide. As you think about opening a business, you may have certain needs from New York City Department of Buildings. For example, once a business owner signs a lease for the commercial space, we can help them through the process with the NYC Department of Buildings, such as guiding them to apply for the certificate of occupancy, get them through the plan review process. If the same business or different one is opening a restaurant, they will also need to apply for the New York City Food Service Establishment Permit from the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, which we can provide guidance on that process as well. And in the same scenario, let's say if the restaurant wants to participate in the NYC Open Restaurant Program, which is a permit will be needed with the NYC Department of Transportation. For those of you who don't know about this program, you probably have noticed the outdoor seating during COVID. We can provide guidance on this program and many more. Also, you all should know that small business advocates are not new in our mission to help New York City. Before Quick Start, we've been helping more than 6,000 businesses open through the years, which added more than 50,000 jobs. The milestones you see here reflect our mission to help business thrive and support job creation. As I mentioned earlier, Quick Start is a collaboration. As there's a range of services we provide. We work with very closely with the compliance advisors at our agency. Many compliance advisors have been inspectors at other agencies in the past, and they're now dedicated to provide complementary and educational services to business through compliance consultations. A compliance consultation is a proactive way to help business avoid receiving common violations and fines and ensuring they operate in compliance. If you can see the picture here, that's me with one of our compliance advisors working in action. That's the one we're speaking to a business owner in Chinatown. Again, so these are free services to New Yorkers. And small business advocates frequently refer business to compliance advisors. They can help answer any questions about a violation you may have received and suggest how to correct it and avoid new ones. So the compliance advisors have been around for many years as well. Historically, through the years, they have helped over 8,000 small business, helping these businesses save over 120 million by avoiding fines and penalties from other city agencies. They have also helped more than 390 restaurants complying with the rules of the new NYC Open Restaurant Program. The compliance advisors are a key part of NYC Quick Start and target the same industries the small business advocates do. The compliance advisors are not inspectors and will not issue violations or fines. Rather, they will help you understand how to avoid receiving common violations so you can open sooner and operate in compliance. Finally, as part of this initiative, I'd like to make you aware of all the other resources available entirely at no cost to help you start your business or operate an existing one. We, as a small business advocates, can connect you with these services. For instance, the financing assistance. We can help you apply for a business loan through lenders that offer low interest rates. And we can also connect business owners to commercial lease assistance. Before the business owner sign a commercial lease, we can connect them with a pro bono attorney to review the lease before they sign it. And we can also refer business owners to recruitment and training assistance, which are available at no cost if the business is looking to hire or train employees. So I'm inviting you all to visit our website, nyc.gov/quickstart. And you can also book a consultation with small business advocate covering your borough at our agency's landing page. And if you want to reach out to us directly, you can call our hotline at 888-727-4692. And thank you again for your time. We're looking forward to working with you soon. If there are any questions, I'm happy to take some.
Thank you so much, Melody. That's a great service that you all are providing. And I think I can think of one establishment in particular that might have benefited from your services. So thank you for the work that you're doing. So this came out of the need to support businesses after the pandemic? Is that what you said? Or has this program been going on for a longer time?
So the idea of this program initially started with the Bloomberg administration. So it's been around for years. And after this administration came on board, they rebranded their services, but we pretty much offer the same services. But the challenge has always been how to reach out to the communities. So that's why I'm here. We're trying our best to, really figure out ways to reach out to the communities and to let people know that we exist. So it's not easy. And especially with the, limited budget. So we're trying our best. So that's why I'm here. I hope, you guys can really, let the community know, let the business owners know that we exist and, this is free services.
That's great. Yeah, I will definitely share your information. And I think we should be able to, post some links or more information on our website, and we can amplify you all that way. I see Jesus has a question.
Yes, actually related to that, I was going to ask, Melody, does your program have like flyers or social media images that we could use, or even tweets that SBS has done from their account that we can retweet to help get the word out on our social media and through our newsletters?
That's a great idea. I will definitely forward you the information. I'm sure we have the collateral. I just need to, when I go back to office tomorrow, I can forward you the information.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you.
I think it's great what you're doing, and we really appreciate it. There's a lot of business owners on the call now, so hopefully they can spread the word as well. But we appreciate you. I see Jeannie has a question.
Hi, thanks for that presentation. I didn't know about this, and it's an invaluable service to the city, so thank you. Just one suggestion, if you reach out to Baruch College, they work with small businesses and they have some free advising services. They might have a network that you could tap into as well.
Is that the SBDC?
I don't remember the name of it, but
oh, okay.
Yeah, but I just remember hearing and working through Baruch College on a project a few years back, and so they might be a good partner with you.
I will definitely follow up with that. Thank you for the suggestion.
Sure, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, and we are always here and willing to help you and promote your work. So please do not be a stranger and keep in touch. But I think that's all the questions that we have for now.
All right, thank you, Claire.
Yes, thank you, Melody. And we'll be in touch, and just send us whatever you want us to post on our website or social media. We'd be happy to get that posted.
Will do.
Thank you. Thanks for joining. So next on the agenda is kind of a follow-up discussion about ghost restaurants. I had full intentions to kind of create a draft reso in advance of this meeting, but time flew and I wasn't really able to put anything down on paper, but I have kind of thought about it. And I'm wondering if anyone else, after that presentation, came across any ghost restaurants or thought a little bit more about what we can do to kind of fix the situation a little bit. And if not, that's okay. We can table this to next time when I get a little more time to think about it some more. But if anyone had some like burning details to share right now. I would welcome those, but if not, I think that I just want to move on in the agenda for now, and I will follow up with you all next month about that. And again, I'm available on email if you think of something, or if you don't want to speak up now, we can talk offline. But I'm sorry, I don't have anything updated for you this evening. With that, we can move on to our first application, which is Sucker Punch Sports Club. Is there a representative from that establishment here? Hi, you can unmute yourself, Adam, and just walk us through your application if you don't mind.
Sure. Good evening. Thank you all for having us tonight. I'm here with one of the principals, Mr. Ilya Kanevsky, who's also on.
Hi, nice to meet you, and thank you for taking the time to listen to us.
So this application is for a sports restaurant on 344 3rd Avenue, which is between 25th and 26th Streets. This will be a neighborhood-friendly and family-oriented sports bar, allowing people to just enjoy their favorite teams, their favorite games, while also having a nice dining experience.
Okay, thank you for that walkthrough. I did have a few questions. Looking at the Google map that's pulled up right now.
Yeah, it's it's smack in the middle of the block, so it would be
it's to the right of where we're looking at right now.
It would be a little further. No, just right there. It's smack in the middle. That's it.
And I noticed on your application that you checked the box saying that you all weren't located in a residential building, but that looks pretty residential to me.
Oh, no, my mistake. That's obviously mixed use neighborhood, sure.
Okay, so have you all done any outreach to your neighbors to kind of alert them that you're coming, or?
We have, yes, we have. We are in the process of still meeting with some more folks.
Yeah, I own Hidden Lane on 15th and Irving, and always go and meet the neighbors and the people around the area. We soundproof. We make sure that, you know, the music's not too loud, and that, you know, the neighbors are happy, and we welcome them, you know, to the establishment.
If I may add, yeah, Mr. Kanevsky does own a couple of liquor licenses. Hidden Lane is the example you used, which has a great record in the community and with the liquor authority.
That's good to know. I saw also on your application that you're planning on doing live music. Can you tell me a little bit more about your plans with that?
Basically, it's going to be a sports bar, and during commercials, we wanted to have a DJ, so there's music flowing and people don't have to listen to commercials during the games.
But you're not going to have like a band come?
No bands.
Amplified music?
No, amplified. We want people to be able to talk. And, you know, if you go to my other establishment, Hidden Lane, the music's not loud enough that people can't talk. And I think that's very important.
Okay. Yeah, there's just like a distinction on the application. Like,
yeah, we put solo artists in case, there's a.
But it's just going to be like pre-recorded music.
For the most part.
Yes, correct.
Okay. When you say for the most part, are you going to have someone come and like perform
that's the thing is a DJ during the games. So when there's a commercial, somebody can play. When the game goes back on, they could stop playing. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, some of the sports bars do this, whereby they have the game on surround sound, so everybody can hear it loud and clear. But when they go to commercials, you don't necessarily want to hear the commercials. So when they go to commercials, they automatically go into a DJ or a preset, lock. And And the live music will be sporadic. You know, I always tell my clients, listen, if you're going to have live music on New Year's Eve, one day a year, you got to check the box.
Sure,
so
sure.
You don't do it every night.
That's very true. So that makes sense to me. And I would just remind you all that you are in a residential area. So the DJ should not be blasting, and your neighbors shouldn't be hearing it when they're in their home, obviously. My last question is about the hours of operation. Usually when we see new businesses, I do understand that you have another establishment in our district, which is great, that I haven't heard any complaints of, but oftentimes we ask new businesses to close at 2 a.m. instead of 4 a.m. And we like to just see how the operations work until that time. And then if there are no complaints, then we kind of like revisit it a little later.
Yeah, the thing is, you know, there are a lot of people get off work at 12 midnight. You know, that's just their shift. So by the time they get somewhere, it's 12:15, maybe even 12:30. And if they know the place is going to have lights on at 1:30, 1:45, they're not going to go there. They're going to literally go somewhere else. And as you know, there's a bunch of places literally on that 3rd Avenue strip within 3 or 4 blocks of that area that will be competing for that kind of business. And most businesses, Mr. Ganevsky will tell you, Hidden Lane the same, make 50% up to half of the revenue comes in those 2 nights between midnight and 4. So, I mean, we put Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We'd be, you know, more than willing to just work with you on just Friday and Saturday and take off Thursday, but those 2 nights are critical.
Okay, yeah, I'm okay with that. If it's like Friday and Saturday to start, and then if things go well, then you can add.
We'll come back to you Thursday night.
Yes, I think that's okay. I'll open it up to the committee now. But, you know, we've been trying to be flexible with new establishments, especially in like this post-COVID time. So I think that especially because you're already established in the area as well, that I'm okay with that. So instead of Thursday, it'll just be Friday and Saturday until 4, and then you all can come back in some time to check in, and we can give you Thursday too. Does anyone from the committee have any questions? John?
Yeah, more of a comment than a question. One of the things that other establishments have found very useful, there we go, is to have a very clear signage, you know, on the window saying how to contact yourself, the owner, the manager, direct phone line. So that if there is a problem, this does 2 things. If there's a problem, it alerts the owner and the manager. And 2, they are less likely to call 311, because if you start getting a lot of calls to 311, that creates more problems for you. So, and I think we have a form for that, Claire, don't we?
We have to get it reposted to the website, but we can email that to you. All businesses.
And it's a phone number of someone who actually is responsible for the establishment, and it helps out everybody. It helps the neighbors. It helps the owners too, because as I said, if you start racking up 311 calls, that's not a good thing.
Is that something you all will be able to do? Thank you, John, for reminding me of that.
Ilya? It's actually a very good point, because as the gentleman pointed out, if you don't do this, people will be calling 311, and that looks bad on the record.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to have that. And then again, I like to be proactive. So, you know, there's nobody calls 311 anyway.
Yeah, hopefully they won't be calling you, but it's just up there, and it's a good kind of like friendly neighbor step to take. So yeah, that would be great.
I recommend that they do it, sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we can send you a template, but you can like edit it or format it as long as it's someone who will answer the call and be able to field any concerns.
And thank you, I would appreciate that.
Sounds good. Thanks, John. Anton?
Yeah, I have one question and one comment. Are you taking over another restaurant establishment at that address?
It was previously an establishment, but they went out of business. So we would have to fully redesign everything.
Yeah,
Is this Manhattan Promenade?
It looks like it from looking at the video.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They went out of business a while ago. They had a 4 a.m. license too, by the way, but they went out of business a while ago. So this is a brand new application, not a transfer.
My comment is that you have to correct your application about the residential building.
Okay. Will do.
And do you have another question, Anton? Or
no, it's just one question, one comment.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Thank you for that. Michael?
Hello. The establishment you said on 15th and Irving, was that the place right there on the...
Well, there was Headless Horseman nearby. This is Hidden Lane. It's 129 East 15th Street. So it's between Irving and 3rd Avenue.
What was it? It wasn't the place on the corner.
No, that's Headless Horseman.
No, the place across from that, I'm saying.
Oh, that was Sidebar.
All right, okay, good. Then that negates everything, because that was a very, very loud establishment.
Yeah, I we're happy that, that they're no longer that loud.
No, because when you were saying that, I was like, if it's that place, and if they think that's not loud, then the meter is definitely broken. But I appreciate the clarification. Thank you.
No problem.
Good question. Thanks, Michael. Kevin?
Thanks, Claire. Do you have any plans for the utilization of the sidewalk space?
No.
Looks a little tight.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked. So thank you for that response, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Paige, last but not least.
Thank you. I have a concern about the 4 o'clock thing. I really think 6 months to see how they do at regular time and then come back. I don't think we should just, give them the Friday and Saturday. It is a very large residential neighborhood, and we have had problems on 3rd Avenue in that general vicinity between 25th and 28th Street. So I wish them luck, but I really don't feel that we should go with Saturday and Sunday, because that is a large residential building. And I can assure you that they will be hearing from them.
If I may chime in, it's not just the hours, it's actually the level of noise, the quality of life. Everyone will agree, that a 4 a.m. license for a diner causes no issues, versus a 2 a.m. actually for a lounge could cause a lot of issues. A lot of 2 a.m. places that cause problems. This is a well-known operator. He has a place in Lane, which many people haven't even heard of, which is kind of a good thing in a way, because it has not created any problems. It just has a particular clientele that likes to go there. And this is just a place where we feel there's nothing in that area. You have to go further north to get a real sports bar. And we're trying to cater to that. Duke versus North Carolina, Giants versus New England, that kind of.
And the thing is, I also cater to an older clientele. I'm in my mid-30s. Most of my clientele is. So, it's generally not an issue with that clientele.
It's going to be probably people in the 30s and 40s.
Paige, what did you say?
The target demographic.
I'm going to take it back to Kevin.
Thanks again, Claire.
Hello?
You mentioned Duke, North Carolina. Is there, this is more out of curiosity than need, but is there going to be one conference or team that you're going to try to make the headquarters of? Have you done that research?
I graduated from Penn State, but there's not going to be a specific team. that the bar is going to cater towards. It's just going to be for everyone in the neighborhood.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question. So getting back to Paige's point, I do understand the risk that we might be taking if we do allow them to stay open to 4 a.m. But I do also understand that that's a big money-making hour for establishments. So,
and originally we wanted 4 nights at 4 a.m. We're willing to take those 2 and come back to you in a year or a year and a half.
Another good point. Jeannie?
I support that change.
Mm-hmm. To just do the 2 nights?
Yes, to do the 2 nights and then come back to talk about the Thursday night. But I do think, given the circumstances, the economic reality, that we should give them a chance.
Thank you, Jeannie. I agree. And I also think that, you know, should we hear any complaints or, you know, like we've mentioned, this neighborhood definitely knows the board office and knows to contact us, and that we do take action. So should there be any complaints in these first few months, we'll absolutely be reaching out to you all and trying to work out any issues that might, and as you said, hopefully not, but just in case. John?
Yeah, I just want to emphasize that before COVID, I would have taken Paige's side on this, but I still always do respect what Paige has to say. But you know, I just think we have to be bending over backwards to help our new businesses get going. So, but do put that sign up, and let's not get any 311 calls.
Right.
And I'm hearing 30 and 40-year-olds described as the older generation is, you know, almost lost my vote, but that's okay. All right.
Yeah, read the room, guys. Just kidding. Kevin.
My question was answered. Thank you.
Okay, that's great. Does anyone have any motions?
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes.
And with a stipulation, maybe Jeannie should make the motion, since I think she eloquently crystallized the need for those hours. I want to make sure I have it right, but I fully support this, and I want to make sure this happens. I think it's a great addition to the neighborhood.
I think you said it all, but I will second that, or a motion of no objection to go forward.
I want to make sure we're clear on the hours.
Yeah, with the change in the hours, I think it's 10 a.m. to, I don't have it in front of me.
12 noon every day except Saturday and Sunday, 11 a.m.
11 a.m. to 4 a.m. on Saturday, Friday, Saturday.
And then Thursday will be 2 a.m. instead of 4.
Okay.
So it'll be 2 a.m. every night except Friday and Saturday.
Perfect.
And with the stipulation that the signage is the clear signage of contact.
And that the signage is actually with somebody who is directly associated, yes. Not some third party.
Of course.
Okay, thank you. So
I'll be happy to write the resolution.
Okay.
Oh, you have to vote, sorry.
Yes.
Second it.
Okay, yeah, so it was seconded. Now, as we have been doing in the past, I just want to put this out there. We're not doing a vote by roll. We're just saying if anyone opposes this resolution to speak now. So I'll give you a few seconds to raise your hand. If you do not support a resolution of no objection to this new liquor license with the amended hours and the requirement to add signage onto somewhere you could see. Seeing none, this resolution passes. We wish you the best of luck. Hopefully there's no sucker punching happening at Sucker Punch, or else you'll be hearing from us.
I was waiting for someone to do that.
I have to do it. I had to. But thanks to you both for joining us and talking us through.
I'm just still not over being old at 30 and 40. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I don't feel old.
That was
I'm not over that.
That was borderline.
You could put a little asterisk in the reso somehow. Thank you, Jeannie, for offering to do this reso. Next up, we have a new on-premises license for 1-2 Thai. Is the representative?
Yes,
hi.
Hi, how are you?
And is your name Warakon?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And I just want to make sure, are you a passenger in a car? You're not driving your vehicle while you're on the phone with us right now?
Oh, no,
right?
no. I'm parking now.
Excellent. So do you mind just walking us through your application, telling us a little bit about your establishment and what your goals are?
Oh, yes. I'm doing Thai restaurant. We sell Thai food and just would like to add some drink like beer, wine, and hard liquor.
Mm-hmm.
We open from 11:30 a.m. and close right now around 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And no music brand, anything, only music from Pandora.
Got it. Okay, well, thank you for being here. I see that this is another residential building. Did you reach out to neighbors? It says no on your application, but I'm just wondering if you kind of gave them a heads up that you're moving in and got to meet anyone yet, or?
Oh yeah, we've been here around before the COVID start.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So already about almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so there is backyard space that's in like a courtyard area?
Yes, but we could only open in the summer.
Right, yes, yeah. That makes sense. But there's no like music back there, right? It's just people talking while they eat.
Oh, we have one of the speaker, but we can control the volume. We just, not too loud.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us. Those were my questions. I don't know if any other folks on the committee. Jeannie had a question. Go ahead.
Hi, thanks. I just, could you repeat your hours? I don't think they matched up with which was recorded in the application.
We open 11:30 a.m. until 10 or 10:30. Open 11:30 a.m. and close around 10 p.m.
Good catch, Jeannie. I do see on your application that you were asking for to stay open until 2 a.m.
1 and 2 a.m.
Yeah, 1 and 2 a.m. Was that a typo or an error?
In reality, we close before midnight for sure, because we are a restaurant, not like at the bar or sport bar, anything.
Okay, so we'll just update your application and write the new hours. You said 10:30. Do you want, or 11? Do you want us to say?
Claire, may I make a suggestion or ask a question?
11:30 to 10. Yes.
Yes.
May I just ask a question? Could we just leave it as is, just in case? Because he falls within the parameters. You know, it's reasonable 1 or 2 a.m. in case.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Too. Yeah. Good call. Just in case any stragglers are there. So yes. Oh, did we lose him? Well, I think they were wrapping up the questions anyway. So I guess if someone wants to make a motion here.
Motion of no objection.
Second.
Okay, seconded. And if anyone.
I could take this one on too, Claire.
Thank you so much. Okay, great. Oh, welcome back, Warakon. We were just, someone made a motion of no objection and it was seconded. So now we're just waiting to see if anyone objects to this, which I'm not seeing anyone objecting to this resolution. So, excuse me, it passes. So the board office will be in touch with you and send you the resolution. But thanks for joining us and we wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, good luck.
Mm-hmm. Great. So next up is a renewal application for an on-premises license for Shannon Cafe LLC, which is doing business as the Horny Ram at 951 2nd Avenue. As members know and attendees know, oftentimes for renewals, we don't bring them in, but in this case, we've heard a little chatter, we might call them complaints from the neighborhood about particularly outdoor dining space. And so we just wanted to bring Ken, I think is here from the Horny Ram.
Yep. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so I guess I'm just looking at this street view. It's from July 2021. So have you made any amendments to your outdoor dining setup, or is this kind of representative of what it looks like now?
Yeah, I can't warrant for some of the stuff there. I think the gray one in the photos belong to Sokarat. The white ones with the nice ferns are mine.
And are those like planters that you put out into the bus lane when it's not active? Is that what those are? Oh, you might be.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, now we can.
Yeah, it's been, listen, we were trying to survive within the parameters that they gave us there all through 2020 and for a lot of 2021. We got a lot of guidance from the DOT, and I can tell you 4 different DOT people told us 4 different things. So most of the time, and it was always a panic, and the block would always get together. Most of the owners on the block, and I'm just going to leave it at that, most of the owners on the block are very receptive and we're open to meeting the DOT guys, and we'd all come down there to meet them and then the guy would be gone. Or we'd set a meeting, and ask him to come back at a certain time. And he would show up and say, oh, I wasn't the guy the other day. I think everything is fine. I could tell you some of the things that they told us to do, which I think are absolutely crazy. But I honestly don't want to say anything negative about the DOT because I don't want them on my case. and I understand that what they have to do is horrific. They were never in charge of outside dining. Like, I know this isn't within their purview. So I understand they didn't know what to tell us half the time. But in the absence of true guidance, it's been a challenge. We had these dividers that were easy to move and we could put in certain places. And then they made us load them up with sand, which made sense. But nobody thought once we had the 100 pounds of sand in each one that you couldn't move them then. There is an 8-foot gap between the sidewalk cafe and the curb. But, as you can see in this photo, there is not an 8-foot gap, obviously, when you have these big dividers with ferns there. If you can see, I'm 951 2nd Avenue and Sokarat is 953 2nd Avenue. You can see the way I have a fern in between the 2 doorways there. Mm-hmm. It's actually really pretty. It looks great. And that's a spot where we figured to put one. And it's perfect. It's out of the way. It's actually nice. The tenants like it. We just don't.
You're breaking up again.
Guys, I'm in a basement.
No, that's okay.
But this is where my internet is. The block has challenged. Pescatori's closed down, Starbucks closed down, and we had an empty building where the French restaurant, God, why can't I think of the name? La Mediterranean, maybe? Somebody on this call probably remembers the name, but that's been gone for years. So, the restaurants are struggling. I think most of the restaurants are cooperative. I never got any complaints other than the the constant chatter with the DOT, where they never tell us what they actually want us to do. I wasn't aware that there had been complaints. And obviously, as I've always done, you know, I want to do the right thing. You know, tell us what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I feel for you all big time. So I appreciate that you were talking to DOT and communicating with them. And it's good to hear that there is 8 feet of clearance there now, because that's really, at least at a personal level, that's like a big thing for me. You know, wheelchairs, strollers, folks with limited mobility really can't.
Yeah, I let me just say one thing. That you can see it as a side view in front of Morningstar. Mm-hmm. Of all the places in Manhattan to put that New York Link thing, I mean, it should not have been put on this sidewalk in this part of town. I mean, it's just insane. And there's actually one further down. I don't know if you can slide down. How the heck they ended up putting 2? That's an older photo. I believe there's one further down close to where Starbucks used to be, which is just crazy. Why they put 2 on one block? You can see it there. It's nuts. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's another good point. So just to be clear, you all are not like moving out into the bus lane.
So they use the bus lane. I use it at weekends. Most of the people on the block are using it nights and weekends. But it cannot be used during times when the express bus lane is in service, which is, off the top of my head, something like, you know, 8 to 1 and 3 to 7, something like that. Yeah. So like, you know, from this part of the year going forward, like, you know, I one of the restaurants tonight at 7 o'clock was putting everything out. I was on my way over here. They were starting to gear up. I know what the gear up looks like. They were gearing up.
Totally. Yeah. So that's like on the weekends you use those planters. I'm just
we put them out. Yeah. And you know, it's our version of what the guy from Sucker Punch, which is a hilarious name. As a guy who appreciates funny names, Sucker Punch is pretty funny. But it's the same idea, right? I mean, George at Morningstar is the same. Brian at Crib is the same. You know, it's busy on a Friday night. It's busy for brunch. We try and chase as much revenue as we can, because we're getting nothing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday right now. I mean, just nothing. And nothing on Sunday night. I mean, the odd time, but just generally it's all kind of condensed into the 3 or 4 days towards the weekend. And for a while, you know, when that retail space, you can see at 947, we put some outside there, but they've had showings. We put them out of the way on the side where Starbucks was, and they were fine with it, but now they're having showings. And then, you know, there was a fight to put them in front of the Pescatore, not a fight, but everyone wanted to get them in front of the Pescatore building when they closed. But, you know, obviously they started showing straight away. So it's just, you know.
Okay, let me see if any of my committee members have any questions, or if there are members of the public. You can put your question in the chat. I don't see any questions from Kevin.
I'd just like to make a motion of no objection.
Okay. Michael, were you asking a question? Or
I just have a statement, kind of. I do agree that the DOT has been a little bit of you know, even though this isn't their jurisdiction usually, there's been some, I have a friend who has a couple of friends of restaurants and bars that there hasn't been, I'd say, a direct outline sometimes, or different commissioners have different ways. So I do feel for some business owners that are trying to do the right thing, and maybe getting different people on different days, having them do it. So I just wanted to make that statement.
Yeah, I think that there is a lot of, it's a new program and there have been a lot of changes. So we definitely feel for the business owners in this instance, especially, you know, you're not afforded space in the roadway, which is just the luck of the draw, and it is unfortunate, but I hear you and I understand that you're trying to make it work. So Kevin made a motion of no objection to the renewal. I'm wondering if anyone wanted to second that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, and Michael will second it. And then if any member of the committee wants to vote against this motion, I'll give you a few seconds to raise your hand, but I appreciate you, Ken, for coming in at around dinner time, you know, when you're busy, to just talk us through this.
Absolutely no problem. And you guys have my email. Anybody can reach out to me anytime about anything. And if we can figure out the hustle that we're trying to do. But if we can get everybody vaccinated and get everything back open, we'll all be good.
Amen.
Amen.
Well, thanks again.
Yeah, thanks guys so much. Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we'll be in touch with the resolution, but
okay. Bye. Thanks guys. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. All righty. Next up is a new on-premise license for Paris Cafe LLC at 692 3rd Avenue. Kevin, before, did you want to say something? Oh wait, you're on mute though.
One of these years, I'm going to figure that out. Do we need someone to write the resolution before we move on? And if so, I would be happy to do that.
That would be awesome. Thank you. I forgot about that and would have ended up doing
You're
it
welcome.
myself.
That's all.
So thank you, Kevin. Appreciate that. And okay, so next up, a new on-premises license for Paris Cafe LLC at 692 3rd Avenue. And Benjamin, you're here to walk us through that application.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Benjamin Corngut. I'm the lawyer for Paris Cafe LLC. I have with me tonight Peter O'Connell, who will be the principal of Paris Cafe. This is an application for an on-premises liquor license at 692 3rd Avenue. The premises has been licensed as Muldoon's since about May 1992, so almost 30 years. Sadly, they closed during COVID, and I'm sure most of you know the location from just being around for so long. Pete O'Connell, he came across kind of through happenstance this location. Pete has 2 other locations within Community Board 6, Molly's Cafe at 287 3rd Avenue, and the Bluebell two doors down at 293 3rd Avenue. I included some articles in the packet, but Pete is kind of an institution. He's pretty well known in the Irish pub community. At Molly's, he also used to own the Paris Cafe down by the seaport, which also sadly closed during COVID, but came across this opportunity. I just want to stress that it's not going to actually be called Muldoon's for certain reasons I can't really get into, but you know, it's going to be very similar to that. It's going to be an Irish pub, basically what you're used to and what you've probably seen at Molly's for many years now. And Pete's just, you know, Pete has a way of running things where there's not really issues and he knows what he's doing. He's been in the game for you know, almost over 40 years. And he was upset when he heard that Muldoon's closed, and he's looking forward to kind of revitalizing this business. He knows a lot of the people that used to work at Muldoon's. You know, some of them will be coming back. And Pete, I don't know if there's anything that you want to add. You're on mute, Pete, so just try to unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Yes?
Yeah, we can hear you, Pete.
Yes,
okay. Yes, I'm excited to bring a bit of Molly's culture to 692 3rd Avenue, formerly Muldoon's. I'm thinking that I own Molly's, which was called after Molly Malone. So I was thinking of calling Muldoon's Malone's. So just to keep the connection with Molly's. It's a very well-known bar that opens at 8 a.m. in the morning and goes to 4 a.m. In Molly's now, we're cultivating because of the tight revenue flow. We're keeping our kitchens open till 3 a.m. As everybody knows, we don't encourage sports or loud music. We just do Spotify at a very low level. In Molly's, it's a conversation bar. The same will apply in Muldoon, in the new location. We hope to do a 3 a.m. closer on food because there's a lot of working people there who finish work. And we feel that there's an opening there for that food late night, especially Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, like we're developing in Molly's. And neighborhood, we have no neighbors living upstairs. There's no neighbors living in either building each side of us. I think there's very few neighbors, residents in that block. The church are looking behind St. Agnes's, are looking forward to me opening it. I know some people there. And that's basically it. It's going to be a very simple bar. It's going to be more aimed at working class, and nothing fancy with big sports or nothing fancy with live music, anything like that.
Yeah, and just thanks, Pete, for pointing that out. But yeah, the application was, I thought, was a little confusing in that it says, you know, that it is in a residential building, but we didn't reach out to anyone. The reason we didn't reach out to anyone is because there is no one to reach out to. But Pete tried. But there was no one there, and he did reach out to the community. He reached out, like he said, to the church, which is around the corner, just to introduce himself to the priest, and they were very enthusiastic. So we did try to make connections with the neighborhood, and anyone that knows Pete from his existing locations knows that that's kind of what he's all about anyway, is, you know, like becoming a fixture in the community. So he'll certainly make himself available in any way that he can, to the extent, which we don't anticipate, but to the extent there are any, you know, complaints or any issues.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm definitely familiar with Molly's and Bluebell. Will there be sawdust on the floor here?
We lifted it because of COVID for markings on the floor, directional markings and that. And as a result, we put a brand new floor down. And we're torn between putting it back and covering our nice new floor. So, and the health department are beginning to look askance at it, at the sawdust. So I'm giving it about 6 months and see how the COVID regulations pan out.
That makes sense. Well, thank you for being here. I can tell that you're very well established in our neighborhood, and it seems like you're just trying to serve the community with food and to have, like, you know, moments rest. So I know that we made amendments to the previous establishment, but I'm inclined to let you keep the hours that you applied with, but I also want to open it up to the committee members to see if there are any opposing ideas or opinions here. But thank you both for joining us.
Not opposing, but just what are the hours again, please?
On the application, they I think you all were looking to, so Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 a.m. And then on Sunday, they would open at noon instead of 8 a.m., but stay open till 4 a.m. too. And that's what, are those the hours of Molly's?
Yes, yes.
I think those are the hours of Muldoon's.
Yeah. They were the previous hours of Muldoon's, yes.
Do you get a lot of folks in at 8 a.m.? Do we have to?
I worked in a bar on 3rd Avenue in the 70s and 80s, and there was 2 bartenders serving at 8 a.m. in the morning. Things have changed a little since then.
Yes, I guess so. That's wild. Good to know. Are there any questions or comments from the committee?
I would like to add that we will be doing an Irish breakfast in that area in the morning. You know, it just won't be, you know, we'll be catering to the breakfast.
Got it. That makes sense.
Do you need anything?
Okay.
Yeah, I think because of the history at other places, you know, normally I would be nervous about 8 to 4 all the time, but there's clearly a history of operating successfully here. And once again, we're trying to get past this terrible plague. So I would support this.
Yeah, and I do appreciate also what you both said about, it looks like the building above you is going through some construction, so there's no tenants there now, which also supports your cause here. Do any committee members have a motion?
I'll make a motion and no objection.
I'll second that.
Okay,
Thank you.
And so I'll just give it a second to see if anyone wants to raise their hand to vote against that motion. But otherwise, I'm not seeing any hands up. So I think that motion passes. Thank you.
I'll write this one.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. Yeah, so thank you, Peter and Benjamin.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Very much, everybody.
Good night.
So grateful. Thank you.
Take care. Okay, thank you all for that. Thank you, John. Next up is a new on-premises license for Papa Felix, LLC, doing business as Papa Felix at 633 3rd Avenue / 210 East 41st Street. Hi, Donald, are you the representative of
Yes,
Papa
I am.
Felix?
Yes, thank you, Claire. Hi, everybody. Donald Bernstein, I'm the attorney for this applicant. David Lowenstein, who is my client, should be here with us. This is a new application in space that was occupied by Meze Cafe and Bar for a number of years. Just off the corner of 3rd Avenue and 41st Street. It actually sits between 3rd Avenue and the tunnel exit street. You can see right next to it is, I think, Chase Bank, and then on the other side, some doors, and then the tunnel exit road. It's in an office building. This area, and particularly this area of 3rd Avenue, is entirely commercial, and the space has been licensed. David has experience in the business. He and his partners are going to open a bar restaurant in this location, Papa Felix. The hours will be Monday through Wednesday till midnight, and Thursday through Saturday until 2 a.m. Sunday closing early at 9 p.m. The total occupancy will be under 75, so it will be under the place of assembly amount. The menu that we've provided, I believe you should have that. You can see there's going to be brisket, ribs, chicken, fish, tacos, and sandwiches. And that is pretty much it. David, if there's anything you want to add to this, go
yes,
ahead. This is your chance.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me. I didn't know I was going to follow a living legend, but I'll do my best here. I've lived in Midtown East for almost 7 years and operated a business in Midtown East for the same time. Lived in Tudor City, spent 5 years on 45th Street, moved uptown to 46th Street for the last year and a half. My cafe, Pickler & Co. has been on 45th Street for 6.5 years. Love the area, love being in the East 40s. Very familiar, obviously, with this location. I am also a principal in a East Village bar restaurant that's licensed that opened this past year in June. So I do have experience with this process and with serving alcohol, and have a great team of culinary and beverage people who have a ton of experience as well in the industry. And we're excited to bring barbecue to the neighborhood. We don't think there's much in the way of barbecue in the area. Our barbecue is going to be a little more international focused. So there will be like a barbacoa from Mexico and Kahlua pulled pork from Pacific Islands, Vietnamese brisket. So we think we can bring a little different flavor to that sort of culinary experience and do it in a beautiful Midtown East space. So just excited to make it happen.
Well, thank you very much. This sounds great. So you all are planning on doing sidewalk seating and also roadway seating? Is that?
Roadway is not permitted.
Right.
There's no standing area and it's a two-way. So that's not allowed. We will try to apply for our sidewalk cafe permit through the city through the regular process. The sidewalks are standard size. There will be an 8-foot gap. In our building, docks is on the other side and they have the same setup on the sidewalk. So we assume that that'll be no problem with the city.
Sounds good. And then I see on your application that you want live music to happen.
Planning for live music, DJs, ambient background, more for the energy and the vibe of the place. We don't like loud places. We just want that sort of buzz of a nice restaurant where there's a lot of human energy and not screaming at each other, just sort of ambient, respectable background music.
That sounds good. Those were my questions, but maybe a member of the committee. Jeannie.
Hi, thank you. Just a quick question. I was not going to ask this about the Horny Ram, but how did you come up with the name of your business?
Felix is actually the father of my culinary director, Edie. He's the inspiration for that, Papa Felix.
Love it. Good question. Anton?
Yeah, I'm into typos today.
Ask you.
It's indicated that your opening hours are 11 to 2 p.m. I presume that's 2 a.m. Unless you're just doing lunch.
No,
2 a.m.
2 a.m.
Good catch. I didn't even catch that.
Apologies. It'll be, 2 a.m. Correct.
Okay. Oh, I see. So Monday to Wednesday, it'll be until 12 a.m. or?
Midnight.
Yes, midnight weekdays and then 2 a.m. Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Makes sense. Okay. Anton? Yep, do another one or you're muted. That was just your only question, right, Anton?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good catch. And thank you for the clarification. Are there any other questions from committee members? I'd also take a motion if someone has one.
Motion, no objection.
Okay.
Seconded.
Anton made the motion, Kevin seconded it. And if there are any objections, speak now. But otherwise, we look forward to checking out Papa Felix for some barbecue.
Thank you.
Thank you both for being here.
Thanks a lot.
Good luck.
Good night, everyone. Good night.
Good luck. Thank you. Okay, next up is another.
Claire?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. I think we need somebody to write the resolution.
Thank you. These resolutions don't write themselves, people.
I could do it if you'd like.
Okay.
Sorry,
Kevin.
Jeannie, I cut in on you.
Yeah, well, there's a few more, so.
By all means.
Right. Thank you. Sorry, Alexandra. And thank you, Kevin and Jeannie.
Best to volunteer early.
Okay, now next up we have another renewal, which is an application for an on-premises license for 23 Lexington Tenant LLC, the Freehand Hotel Company LLC, Guest Lab NYC LLC, and Happy Places Gramercy LLC, doing business as the Freehand New York. I think the general manager, Paul.
I am sorry, I'm suffering from a terrible cold, and I'm doing my best to not not COVID. I'm vaccinated, so I'm good. Hello, everybody. I'm the general Freehand. I've been there for about a year and a half, and the spaces that we had closed for during COVID are being reopened. One is reopened now. It's called Komodo, Latin American Fair, that reopened a couple of weeks ago. And the mezzanine level, we're reconceptualizing to have those spaces open first week of November. Smile Go remained open, and Broken Shaker reopened in the spring.
Okay. So, sorry, is this application for more than one establishment, or is it just for Broken Shaker?
No, I believe that the application that we're talking about is for Komodo, the restaurant that's taking over that took over the old Simon and the Whale space.
Okay. Alexandra, is that your understanding as well?
Let me double check. My understanding was that this is a renewal for the trade name was Freehand New York, and with multiple LLCs, I assume that it was for multiple establishments, such as the Broken Shaker.
There's a good chance that it could be. The attorney's not on this call with me, but I'm aware of one of the liquor licenses being changed to Komodo, but that very well could be. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm just joining this call sort of blind by what's going on in the background. I just found out about it today, and I wanted to participate. I can follow up with everybody with any questions, and I can provide my email to everybody.
Yeah, this was definitely a renewal because the expiration date of the licenses are 11/30/2021. And I believe that specifically the Broken Shaker was one of the ones that expired, and is an establishment that our office has received some complaints about. If Claire, yeah.
Okay, so this is not for Komodo. This is a renewal for Broken Shaker.
Okay, apologize. I apologize for that.
It's okay. It's a lot to keep track of, so
yeah.
No worries. But yeah, that's why we're bringing you in, just because I think like pre-COVID times, there were some complaints, and then I think you all kind of settled down a little bit, and there probably wasn't, unfortunately, as many customers joining, right. But more recently we have heard the complaints ramp back up. So I just want to hear kind of your take on it and what you all have been doing to kind of help neighbors who feel disrupted by your operations.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, I've been in the hotel business for over 20 years, and it's very important to me that the neighborhoods that I've occupied in the past, we have a great relationship with all of our neighbors. And, you know, the last thing that we want to do is upset or disturb anybody. Since I've been at the property, the space has been, there's been low occupancy, and things started picking up in the spring. There was some noise complaints regarding music. And we have a new management team up there, all of whom have decibel readers on their phones and are constantly checking the music. We've also disabled some of the outdoor terrace speakers, and some of the tenants, some of the neighbors in the area have the contact information for our bar manager up in Broken Shaker. So we want to work with everybody. The last thing we want to do is be a menace and disturb everyone. We have done our due diligence to ensure that the noise levels are down. We close at 2 o'clock, most times earlier because it kind of dies down by then. And we're keeping an eye on sound levels.
Okay, can you just, we don't have like an application for you to refer to. So can you, what are your hours of operation currently?
Daily, 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. But we've been closing earlier.
And that's like throughout the whole establishment?
Yeah, throughout the rooftop space where Broken Shaker lives on the 18th floor.
Okay. And I understand that you are relatively new here, but I just want to remind the committee that we, the last time you all were up for a renewal, or maybe that was the first application that you all submitted, we actually resolved to object your application because I don't think, I wasn't a part of the committee at this time, but I don't think that whoever was in your position at the last time was really willing to kind of work with the committee. So I'm happy to hear that you are willing to work with us now. I want to throw it over to Seema, who has her hand
It's actually, sorry, just a question for the office. I don't see their application. Is that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. We asked for a questionnaire to be filled out, but a questionnaire was not submitted.
I'll follow up with my team at the hotel. Our vice president of finance was involved with the applications as well as some attorneys. So I'll follow up internally and make sure that's done.
I'm wondering if we should table, this discussion until we have appropriate documentation.
Sure.
Yeah, that's why I was asking if it's not until November 30th, we could hold our November meeting before, the license needs to be renewed. I think I agree with Seema there.
Yeah, I definitely think that that's a good idea, just so you, Paul, can be caught up and have more information to work from to have a more constructive conversation.
I apologize that I was unprepared here, but at least I had an opportunity to meet some of you.
We are definitely looking forward to talking it out, but let's table this one and have you come back and anyone else who might be able to help you. And definitely if anyone has more like historic knowledge to kind of be able to add to the conversation, we would welcome, whoever you want to bring with you.
I'll follow up internally. Again, I apologize that we were unprepared.
No. These things happen. Do we need a vote to table, Claire?
Sorry to interrupt. There are also two members of the public with their hands raised.
Yeah, I see that. And I do know that they have been in communication with Freehand, and I would encourage them to come back next month when we kind of are actually hearing this item on the agenda. So, okay, thank you, Anastasia. Yeah, we will welcome your comments once they're back on the table or untabled. But if anyone from the committee does not want to table this discussion and have it now, speak now, or else we can follow up next month. Okay, and Sebastian will be there too. Kevin?
Well, if it's short and there are a couple of members of the public here, I think it might be helpful for us to understand what's on their minds. Can we give them the floor and see what they're here for? Just a suggestion. obviously your call.
I think that I'm going to ask that they just talk next month, but maybe Jesus has something.
There, yeah, if I may, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I think it's actually going to be too late next month because the 30-day notice was submitted. That's a 30-day sort of head start before they actually apply for their renewal. So they should be applying for their renewal fairly soon. And if their license is going to expire at the end of November, then by the time the meeting happens, a decision about that license will be imminent at that point. So there may not be much of an opportunity to comment much of anything if it's not taken tonight.
Okay. So, because our next meeting isn't on.
Our next meeting is November 30th, and then any decision that is taken that night by the committee would need to be voted on by the full board at the December 8th meeting, by which point it probably will be too late.
Okay.
Again, I'm sorry, I was walking into this blinded. I wasn't handling the liquor license process. These are all executives in the corporate office who were doing that. So it wasn't my intention to come here unprepared, and I apologize for that.
I'm torn on this, Claire. On the one hand, obviously, we're all trying to help businesses, especially get back on their feet after COVID. On the other hand, the last time, apparently, there were some issues with responsiveness, and here we are tonight, you know, without any clear idea of what we're voting on. So I'm having a problem, you know, voting on this, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I listened to other
right.
people. I mean,
Claire, in light of the information about timing, do you want to reconsider Kevin's suggestion that maybe the folks who are here to speak on this maybe given the floor?
I think that's a great idea. And I see that they are still here. So I think maybe I'll have Dan say something and then give them the floor. So can you promote them to panelists in the meantime?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks so much. And I've been you know, here since the beginning of the Freehand, and obviously it's a great spot. It's really, I mean, I think wonderful for the neighborhood, but I think it's pretty clear from the beginning that I feel like there's been somewhat of a disingenuous attempt to really communicate with us. I remember when there was a big layout of the sound system, and then that wound up not really working. And I don't really feel comfortable with the operators, especially since they sent somebody who's not familiar with the kind of with the process, with the prior complaints. And I know that this is a large corporation that has, you know, entities in Miami and elsewhere. And I personally, I mean, again, it's a wonderful space. It's great for the neighborhood, but I just don't feel like we're really given, and the community is given the level of respect that we should be given, especially because they've spoken to us on a couple of different occasions around how they're going to ameliorate some of the problems, and it just hasn't happened.
I hear that, and good point. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, that's a little bit more history for us. Yeah, thanks, Dan. I think if we could have Anastasia, you should be able to speak now, I think.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Could the speaker state her name and her affiliation and then make her remarks?
Hi, my name is Anastasia Wall. I am a resident of community, or I guess I'd be in CB5, Communities of District 5. I'm across the street from the Freehand at 50 Lexington on the 22nd floor, just at the same level as the Broken Shaker. The only remark I really have is going back to 2019, the resolution issued by CB6 to have the rooftop closed down by 10 p.m. Wednesday through Sunday, I believe it was. And then, the only 2 nights they were supposed to have the roof open till 11 p.m. was Friday and Saturday, obviously for weekends. Things were obviously quiet because of COVID. I'm sorry about that for all businesses. But this spring and summer, we saw a resurgence, and the Broken Shaker regularly had the rooftop open well past those hours with loud music. So that was when our complaints started up again. We have been in touch with Caitlin Connolly. She is available and does answer the calls. However, I just was wondering, why is the roof open past the stipulated resolution times of closure?
From my understanding, I thought the roof was always allowed to be open until 2 a.m.
That is the miscommunication.
All right. I'm going to have to look into this, Anastasia. I apologize. Again, I will look into that.
I did communicate with Caitlin, and I sent her copies of the minutes of the meeting from 2019 on multiple occasions.
Okay.
Thanks.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, just going back 2 years, I think that the committee requested those hours, and the previous representation was not accepting of that suggestion. And in turn, the committee wrote a resolution of no support for the renewal of the application, which we definitely can do again this evening if it comes to that. Again, I think it's hard to judge when we don't have an application in front of us to look at, and we just have kind of like correspondence indicating that the Freehand hasn't been the best neighbor historically and also more recently as well. But I would welcome Sebastian's comments as well. I think you can unmute yourself now, Sebastian.
Hi, this is Sebastian. I also live across the street from the Freehand at 50 Lexington. And I would stipulate pretty much everything that Anastasia said, and also wanted to say, I'm not sure what kind of license they have at the Broken Shaker, but I have lived in New York City since 1990, and this place is run like a club, a nightclub. And I don't know if that's the kind of license they have right now, but that's what they should have if they're going to run the business they're running right now.
Thank you.
I don't know. We don't run it like a night. We don't have the category license. So I'm not sure when referring to it as being run like a club. What exactly?
You guys have a line outside with bouncers, and it's it's just really loud. It feels like a nightclub to me, and I'm the next door neighbor. So,
Sebastian, is it loud the past couple of months as well?
Well, it's been on and off, and it's been right now it's not loud because now it's cooling down. But I'm sure Halloween will be loud. I wouldn't be surprised. But for me, as long as it's closed, Sunday through Thursday at 10 o'clock and at 11 o'clock on Friday and Saturday, I would be happy.
All right, I have to do some homework to see what historically took place with these meetings. And I'll be more than happy to get back to the group if I can provide my email address. If anyone wants to reach out to me, I would be delighted to communicate with everybody.
I appreciate that, Paul. We kind of, as Jesus said, there's a time crunch here and we don't meet again before your renewal is up. So we do have to like make some decisions now based on what we presented. And I understand you're well-intentioned, but I also have to listen to the neighbors as well. So I think that Sebastian's suggestion is a good one. And I also do know that this was part of the past renewal or suggested last time that Sunday through Thursday have the outdoor space. We're not talking about indoor space. We're talking about the outdoor rooftop close at 10 p.m. And then on the weekends, have it close at 11. But again, you could have your indoor space until 2 a.m. as was from the previous application. Again, we don't have an application here.
Now, let me ask you, just out of curiosity, just as I'm trying to educate myself, and it's a shame that I wasn't educated coming into this. When you say closed, does that mean music off, or no one should be on the roof outside at that time? Can the space remain open with the music off, or are you asking that everybody is vacated from the roofs and brought inside?
My definition of that would be everyone come inside at that time, just because noise carries. I know you probably don't have people meeting, but if you have a large concentration of folks all talking, the noise definitely can carry between buildings.
100%. Plus, they have doors and windows that open up, and if people keep coming in and out, and they have music on the inside, a lot of times those doors get pried open and they just stay open, and the windows get accidentally opened up, and that sounds like there's loud music, like speakers on the roof, and so that creates a whole bag of just problems. It's better to just bring the people in and party on, for God's sake. Close to the roof, but party on, have a good time.
I appreciate that.
I just want to remind you, you're actually not on the committee, and we have a hand raising policy. So if you want to continue to speak, just raise your hand through Zoom and I'll certainly call on you, but you just have to follow the rules here. So John is raising his hand.
Yeah, and Dan, I think you and I both remember that meeting. And I believe that people on the roof was part of the issue at that time, the voices carrying across the street. And, and the opening of the windows was an issue. And I do recall that we took a vote, and I guess the owners went ahead and went to the SCA anyway, despite our vote. I believe that's probably what happened. It was 2 years ago, but I'm pretty sure that that's what happened, though I would be careful about that on the record, but yes.
Yeah. I think that I'm just kind of going through this really quickly, but I think that was the case, yeah, to have everyone come inside at 10 p.m. So if that was amenable to you, I think that we would be able to write a resolution in support. But if that's not something that you can commit to right now, I think me personally, I would have a hard time being in support of this renewal.
I just wish I wish you can give me a day that I can follow up with the group so I can give you some definitive answers. I'm not aware of the historical, the conversations that we had in the past. And this is the first time I'm even hearing about the rooftop having to close at 10, 11 and p.m. respectively.
So that also seems a little strange to me, just as these have been ongoing conversations, and we might not have been talking to you specifically, but there have been conversations with people that you work with that if this was a priority or important to the representatives of the establishment, I would have, I'm kind of surprised that.
Just one thing, sorry. I apologize. One thing I didn't make clear, the property was sold to another company. So the Sidel Group once had the property and it changed hands in 2019, right before the pandemic, to Generator, a European-based company. And there are no existing members of the team on right now who were here when the hotel first opened. It's a whole new crew and a whole new management team.
The last time you were at the board was December 2019. So
that's December 2019 was the previous owners, the Sidel Group.
Okay. Yeah. We're still having complaints from neighbors, and I'm also cautious to grant this as we head into winter months, because I highly doubt the complaints in the next few months will be kind of a true representation of what the situation is there. I am conflicted for sure. I appreciate you being here, Paul, but I also have to lean on the history that I'm dealing with as well. So would you, if we resolved to support your renewal, where the rooftop would be closed by 10, at 10 on Sunday through Thursday, and at 11 on Friday and Saturday. Is that something that you're willing to?
Can we compromise and do that for the next week while I figure this all out?
Unfortunately not, because this is we are not all gonna meet until November 30th again. So we have to kind of sort things out right now, and us as a committee makes a resolution that, I mean, I guess we can amend the resolution.
All right, so what I'll do now is
is that right, Jesus or Alexandra?
Yes, you could pass a resolution now and amend it at the full board if adequate information that satisfies the committee is not provided. That is always a possibility.
Mm-hmm. Right, and so I guess that information would be a acknowledgement that they would maintain these hours, which I'm not like getting vibes that Paul, you
I'm not, I have to, there's obviously a lot of people behind this that I have to report to as well. So to completely change the hours that we've been consistently operating since the space has been open, since I've been there, is something I have to discuss internally. I want to make everyone happy, but at the same time, I don't want to lie. So I really need to get back to my group, and I don't know what the process is in order to do so with you all, but I don't want to commit to something that I can't deliver on. It just wouldn't be right.
Claire, just to clarify, what would this committee want to see? Because Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, this applicant has not submitted any of the normal paperwork that would be required of any other applicant, correct? Alex?
Like, are you saying like the questionnaire?
Questionnaire, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we received a 30-day notice, but we did not receive a questionnaire for the application, which we require for everybody that's called in for these committee meetings.
I can tell you that when I hang up this phone call, I'm going to speak to the vice president of the company and a few other people about this.
Anton?
Yes, in the past, I think we had given a no objection resolution for a period of time less than what the liquor license timing is, like the restaurant between 51st, 52nd, which I think we all know about. We said, we'll give you 3 months, you clean up your act and we'll extend it. I think we can give a temporary no objection. And within that 3 months, let's say, the applicant has to submit all the necessary paperwork and documentation so that we can make a more reasoned decision to extend it for the full liquor license renewal.
That's an interesting point. I would be inclined to go the other way, especially leading into the winter months where it's less desirable to be outside on the roof, to maybe object, to write a resolution of objection based on the lack of communication and unpreparedness that we've experienced tonight. And then as the year goes on, and maybe, in 6 months to a year, they can come back to renew. I think that Kyle mentioned that that's okay. I don't know, though. Jesus.
Seems a sensible way.
What was that?
That seems like a sensible approach.
Okay. And then they would come back in a year for another renewal, or is that John?
Yeah, and I would say we should specify in the resolution, exactly what we've been talking about. 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, people off the roof, no music, doors and windows closed, and say, and then I think we could be very polite and say that we are uncomfortable with the lack of communication on this. I mean, these things do, it sounds like there's a new ownership group. There's all sorts of reasons these things can happen. We're trying not to be unreasonable here, but, we represent here tonight the community. We are the community tonight, and we're saying, hey, you got to be talking to us more.
I understand.
I think that, and that's not personal to you, Paul. I understand that you are in a difficult position, and there's no disrespect intended.
I appreciate that. I understand.
Yeah, this is definitely not a personal attack on Paul, but I
don't feel that way. I understand.
Thank you. That you did. But yeah, I think that I agree with you, John. That will be very detailed in the resolution, and laying out the points that we've made here, and also what we've heard from the community recently, and older complaints as well. Does anyone else have any thoughts or anything to add here? Seema?
Yeah, I think I think I agree with you, Claire, to go kind of in the opposite direction than what I think Anton, I think it was Anton who was speaking before, was recommending. And it's not a punitive thing, it's just like a lack of information thing. That's honestly what it is.
I understand.
Yeah, that's a good point too. And we'll make that in the reso, should anyone make a motion to are there any motions here or further clarifications needed from the committee? Anton?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand exactly what we're making a motion for.
That's a good question. I think that I do appreciate what you were saying about, supporting businesses and giving them some time to fix their behavior. But I think in this instance in particular, just based on the history and the correspondence that we've received, I do think that the motion would be a motion of objection to the renewal of this liquor license and put kind of a year on the motion with stipulations that we would request that they close at 10 p.m. during the week, the rooftop space, 11 p.m. on weekends, and to encourage them to respond to community complaints and be a good neighbor. That was really long. I can definitely handle this resolution, but I want to know what Dan has to say.
Yeah, Clara, and I appreciate that. As I mentioned, I think it's like a really great staple in the neighborhood. And I really don't want to see the hours of, the hours change. What I want to see though is I would like to make a motion to have the hours remain the same, but I would like to have bi-monthly check-ins for a representative from the freehold to the community board with members of the community's input. Because I feel like in the past, we've been able to kind of get a lot of significant things accomplished, such as the sound system. And I don't really feel like operators who maybe are a little disattached because of their corporate entity, but are trying to do the right thing should necessarily be penalized. And I also feel like for a lot of young people in the neighborhood, it is a really great resource whereby they can have a good time going out and not necessarily have to go downtown. But yeah, I would make a motion to have the same hours of operation, but bi-monthly representation before the community board with the community's input.
I hear you, Dan, on that. Sometimes it's harder to go back once we allow things. So I would push back on that in the sense that should they show up to the bi-monthly meetings and prove to be good neighbors, at that point, would we approve longer hours? And I just want to bring us back. I know that things have changed, but that was in the previous resolution. The earlier hours is what the committee asked for. Seema?
I agree with Dan to a certain extent. I mean, when I was a student at Baruch, like a grad student at Baruch, I would go there often. So I'm like very familiar with the venue and the bar and the rooftop and all that. I just don't know, Dan, you were saying, keep the hours the same. Like, we don't even have any evidence of what the hours are, or even who the proprietor is, right? Mm-hmm. Like I felt like we don't even know what the LLC corresponded to. Let me know if I lost track of that thread, while we were chatting, but yeah, I just don't even have that information.
Mm-hmm. I am in agreement with you, Seema. And since we don't have a lot of information, we are spending a lot of time on this application with not as much context as I think we all would hope for. So I'm definitely torn here too. And again, I appreciate the free hand. I have been there for sure. And, you know, it is a great resource for younger people, but it's also proved to be a nuisance to other neighbors. So we're at a hard spot. But again, I just want to reiterate that once we like give, it's harder to take away. But if we kind of have a little bit more of a restrictive resolution, then we can come back in a year or 6 months and do another one. So are there any motions at this time?
I'd like to make a motion of basically what Claire said like 3 minutes ago, motion of objection with a few stipulations and to check back in a year.
Does anyone second that?
I second that.
Okay. And I'll write this one just because it's a little bit more complicated and I'll go through. But I also think that we should vote on this like verbally instead of just kind of passively. Is that possible, Alexandra?
Yeah, just give me 1 second.
No worries. It's a tricky situation, but I think that this will be the best for us heading into winter. And, you know, Paul, you can talk to folks tonight or this week and reach back out to the board office. And again, you know, if
I will.
Thing changes where we are like blown away by your communication and commitment, then we definitely can make an amendment in our full board meeting, which is in a few weeks.
I will. At the moment I'm sorry. The moment I get off this call, I'm going to this Zoom call. I'm going to speak with a few people. I promise.
Okay, so it could change, but I think that that's where we're at right now. So, Kevin.
Yes, perhaps Freehand can have representation at the full board meeting in case any questions come up with committee. It would be nice to have that resource there.
Yes, makes sense.
That's a good idea. Thank you, Kevin. Are we ready to do a roll call for this?
Call the question.
Call to question. Yeah, so Paul, our full board meeting is November 10th. So
okay.
If you rally some troops then and just be in communication with us in the meantime. Alexandra, are you ready?
Yes, I'm going to go through the roll call and call everybody's name. And please tell me how you vote. Claire Brennan.
In favor.
Charles Fernandez.
In favor.
Paige Judge.
Abstain.
Anton Malner.
In favor.
Seema Shah.
In favor.
Michael Devereaux.
In favor.
Daniel Devine.
In favor.
Jeannie D'Onofrio.
In favor.
John Keller.
In favor.
Kevin O'Keefe.
I'm in favor.
So the resolution passes with 10 in favor and 1 abstained. 1 abstention, sorry.
Thank you for doing that, Alexandra. Sorry for putting you on the spot. I'll write this one and Paul will be in touch. Thanks for being here. And
thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks.
Wait, Claire, sorry. I meant to say 8 in favor, not 9 in favor. Sorry about that.
No worries. Oh, I think you said 10. Do you mean 9? I think I counted 9.
8 in favor and then 1 abstention.
Alex, it doesn't look like Dan Devine's vote was recorded. Dan Devine, can you please restate your vote for the record?
I'm in favor.
Okay. Alex, can you make sure that's recorded?
Yeah, sorry. So it's 9 in favor and 1 abstention. That's probably why I got mixed up. Sorry about that.
No worries. Thank you very much.
The reso still passes. There was no change to that.
Great. Thank you both.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Take care. You too.
Bye.
Bye. Next up, all right, I need to take a breath. But next up, we have a new on-premises license for Molly Gramercy Inc. doing business as Molly at 391 2nd Avenue. Sam, are you here to represent?
Hi, my name is Ellen. Hi, Mr. Park cannot attend, so I'm here on his behalf. Okay. I work at ABC License, and my name is Ellen, representing for Mr. Park.
Ellen, what's your last name?
Lee, L-E-E.
Thank you, Ellen. Okay. So if you could just walk us through the application, we would be grateful.
It's a brand new. They just opened last week after the renovation. It's a Thai restaurant. The owner owns a very same restaurant, very similar, same I'm sorry. She owns another restaurant and the location is 920. I'm looking at the wrong. Okay. 2028 2nd Avenue since 2015, and this is our second location. They just opened. They actually expected longer renovation period, but got it done. Opened last week. Applying for full liquor license for the sake of cocktails. They'll be open from 11:30 to 11. Right now they're closing at 10 and open till 10:30 on Friday and Saturday. But when the weather permits and when the business picks up, hopefully they look forward to open up to 11 p.m. but will not stay beyond 11. It's a full dining restaurant, full menu, serving Thai cuisine and seating. There's 12 tables, 34 seats. There's one bar, 6x3, an L-shaped towards the rear left. And there will be no seats at the bar. It's just for serving purpose. Mm-hmm. 74 per letter of no objection, but they cannot squeeze in more than 40 persons. And they're open already, so it's any questions you have. They're located between East 22nd and East 23rd. Prior tenant was Me Noodle Bar. They lasted for about a year and a half, and it was vacant for quite a while. And then Molly came in.
Great. Well, thank you for that detailed summary. I don't have any questions, so I'll open it up to the committee to see if they have any, but your report was very thorough, so maybe no questions. Seema?
I'd just like to make a motion of no objection.
Thank you for doing that. Does anyone second that?
And I second that with the comment that we appreciate the transparency and detail of your report. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you very much. So if anyone objects to this motion, you can speak now, but I think I can safely say that Seema's resolution passes, and we'll have someone who wants to volunteer to write the resolution. Write it up.
All right.
I can. Oh,
whoa,
go for it.
This is a great night.
I'll write this resolution, my first one.
Okay. That sounds good, Michael.
Okay, sorry, Seema.
Sure, you'll be
great.
Thanks
a lot.
Thank you, Seema and Michael. And thanks for being here. And we wish you the best of luck and can't wait to try some pad thai there.
I can't have enough Thai restaurants.
No, I don't think you can, honestly. Well, thank you again. So next up is,
CIPSAC. I'm representing CIPSAC as well. I'm going to be here again. I'm sorry.
That's great.
And I think Mr. Erskine has also joined the meeting since 6:30, and he's been very patient. And CIPSAC, they've been around since 2005. There's been change of hands in late August. They're currently closed due to renovation. They're remodeling, nothing major, just fresh paint. Everything will be kept same. They're keeping the same kitchen staff actually, and they're keeping the same menu. So, and then they hope to serve the community. It will be under new management, but you won't notice the difference because you'll see the familiar faces and you'll taste the same dish that the community had enjoyed for the past 16 years. Inside, it's 16 tables, 64 seats. Again, there's letter of no objection. It's 74 max. It's not going to go beyond 71 capacity max. Not to 75. We don't have outside seating. I think that's an old photos, but they will not have outdoor seatings. It's just all indoor seatings only. The business hours will be kept same as well, 11:30 to 11 p.m. And just one bar with 5 stools inside. And if the committee have any questions, I'm here to answer.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, thorough and informative report. So I don't have any questions. I see one comment from Allison Mason, a member of the public, who says that she lives around the corner and has missed CIPSAC. So sounds like a affirmative comment, and neighbors are looking forward to your return. Do any committee members have any questions? Are there any motions?
Motion of no objection.
Second.
John seconds that. And if anyone does object, speak now, but otherwise line up to write this resolution, committee members.
Yeah, I can do this one. This is Seema.
Thank you, Seema. So you got to write your reso in the end. But thank you again for being here, and thank you to Mehmet for your patience and for sticking along with us. We look forward to CIPSAC's reopening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda, we could have canceled it because the applicant informed us that they won't be joining. They told us very last minute that they won't be appearing today, but I just want to kind of talk this out a little bit because there's been a lot of back and forth and commotion, and there has been some community complaints about Lagos. And I just want to kind of bring the committee up to date on this, sorry. So, I mean, first and foremost, they really haven't been a good neighbor at all. So late this summer, the board has received a number of complaints from constituents who live in the area with various quality of life complaints. So like not limited to illegal parking, noise. There's been smoke leaving the establishment and seeping into residents. And then just kind of general destructive and concerning behavior from patrons of the establishment. It's a little complicated, and I'm not an expert here, even though I am the chair, but from what we gather, Lagos does not have a liquor license. Certainly they do not have one that's in proper order or a true representation of the establishment there. So there was some kind of like communication about an old liquor license for a previous establishment, but that turns out to be not permitted under SLA rules. And additionally, the liquor license that they were kind of claiming to be operating under has been charged with kind of various violations. So we're at similar but different to Freehand, like a confusing point in the road where there absolutely has been a number of community complaints, and potentially Lagos has been operating or serving liquor without a liquor license, which is incredibly concerning and, you know, subject to severe penalties. Additionally, there have been reports of hookah, am I saying that right? Hookah operations, which doesn't fall under our jurisdiction. It's like a health and a health department kind of issue, but it seems like they don't have permits to do that. But there have been public kind of displays of hookah, like sales or operations here as well. So we, again, like need to hear a little bit more confirmation and gather some more information. But I just wanted to keep you all apprised of what's going on. And it is a little strange to me that they're not here tonight after all of the communication that the board has gone through. And especially, I think they're aware that they do not have a liquor license. So if I was the owner of that establishment, I would run to the next board meeting and try to clear things up. But it seems that they are sick tonight. So I think that we can kind of like write some of these notes up in case the SLA asks us for a position, but I just wanted to kind of get you all up to date to my best knowledge and just tell you what's going on here. I'm sure there's more to add. So Jesus and Alexandra, if I'm missing anything, please jump in.
You got it mostly right. There is a little bit of nuance there. So here's what we were able to find. There was a lot of thread pulling that the community board had to do. And we teamed up with the Councilmember Powers' office to really go out in search of this information. It culminated into a discussion with an official from the State Liquor Authority just this very afternoon. We've been searching for this information for weeks. Now, as Claire mentioned, it appears that I actually think it's pronounced Lagos, so yes. I'm going to call it Lagos. Has been a bad neighbor, but the issue with their license was rather difficult to understand, and I think we finally got it now. So Lagos does not seem to have a liquor license that is in proper order. The official with the SLA that we spoke with this afternoon indicated that the individuals running Lagos seem to be availing themselves of the liquor license for the previous establishment at that location. That license is Lava 164 Corp. Doing business as Marshall Street. However, this is not permitted under SLA rules. In order for that particular license, Lava 164 Corp. Doing business as Marshall Street, in order for that license to be properly used by Lagos, a corporate change needed to be filed. No corporate change has ever been filed with the board or the SLA. In other words, while this location at 306 East 49th Street has a valid liquor license associated with it, and it's the license that I mentioned just a few moments ago, Lagos has not filed the proper paperwork to be authorized to use that license. So, you know, if you wanted to be super plain about it, they don't have a license that they have a valid permission to use. Additionally, the SLA confirmed to us this afternoon that they have charged the holders of that Lava 164 Corp. Doing business as Marshall Street license with various violations. One of them is letting their license be used by Lagos, who is not authorized to use it. The SLA informed us that they will, in the coming weeks, determine whether to cancel or revoke that license at a revocation hearing. The holders of the Lava 164 Corp. Doing business as Marshall Street license had a deadline of yesterday to submit a plea to these charges to the SLA in writing. At the time we spoke with the SLA official, they were not aware of what that plea was, or if a plea had even been submitted. We will try and find out that information for the committee. In the meantime, however, the SLA tells us that no additional applications will be entertained on this matter until all of these are adjudicated. So the complicated issue with its license, that's pretty much where it stands.
Thank you, Jesus, for clarifying that. It's very confusing, and I really appreciate your tireless efforts here because it's a lot to wrangle, and I really appreciate you. Thank you for that summary.
And we do that. And a big shout out to Councilmember Powers' office, who really helped in this as well, and to Alex, who did a lot of good sleuthing work online, trying to figure this stuff out, because CB6 tends to be a little laid back with these establishments, but every once in a while, a real big problem one pops up. And so it was a learning experience, certainly for me, because I'm not usually involved in a lot of the licensing matters. So it was certainly a team effort.
Team effort. God love it and appreciate you all. So I think here, I don't think I made this clear, but an option for us is to pass a motion of some sort of statement that describes the situation and the business operator's behavior in order to present at a hearing potentially. Is that what?
Yes. If this revocation hearing actually moves forward, there is no date for it now, but if it actually moves forward, and if the committee, if the board rather, if CB6 wants to offer some sort of testimony at this yet to be scheduled hearing, then the most proper way to do it in conformity with the CB6 bylaws and everything is to go ahead and pass something as a resolution in a committee and then let it be voted on at full board. We can't know, but it's probably not likely that this hearing will happen before full board. So if it does happen after full board, but before any next meetings of this committee, there will be already some sort of resolution that can be offered as testimony in this hearing. Now, just to be clear, this hearing is to advocate for the revocation or cancellation of that Marshall Street license,
right,
which is the license that the operators of Lagos are currently using, in contravention of state law.
Mm-hmm.
If the board wanted to have some sort of say in that, advocate for its revocation or cancellation, and there's a difference, according to the SLA, there's a difference between revoking a license and canceling a license. And passing a resolution would be a way for the board to have a say. And just for the record, and Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, to cancel a license means that the license is terminated immediately. But if the operator wanted to, they could apply for another one. But if a license is revoked, it is canceled immediately, and they are barred for 2 years from applying for any more licenses. And if they are connected with any other licenses, they need to remove themselves from those, or those would get canceled too.
Yeah, that is correct.
So there are a lot of moving parts to this.
Yes, there are. So sorry for my lack of clarity, but is Lava 164, are they associated with any other licenses that we know of?
We're not sure about that. Alex, is that correct that we're not sure?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they are associated with other establishments that might still be opened. That's something that we'd have to check, and also to see if where the other restaurants or establishments are located, because they could be outside of the district, or there might not be any, but that's something that we can definitely look into.
We could perhaps ask the SLA. They would probably be in a better position to know.
Mm-hmm. Just, I guess it doesn't totally apply, but if it's easy to find out, that would be good to know. So yeah, I don't know if we've made it clear enough, but the complaints were alarming by themselves, but now this additional kind of liquor license confusion is another addition to this story that we're living with this business. So, I mean, I would like to have our committee and our board be able to show something on the record for the hearing. But I don't know, do any committee members have any questions? Need some more clarity? I know it's a lot, but I appreciate Jesus's follow-up.
And also one thing I did forget to mention, one more piece of nuance. If the holders of this license that is being wrongly used, if they decide to plead no contest or guilty, then there won't be a hearing because it will be decided, in which case the testimony won't be used. If they decide to plead not guilty, then that's where the hearing would move forward. And enough time would be given to them for them to mount a case and for the SLA to mount a case.
Right. And so so they had until yesterday to submit their, and so there's nothing there, but does that mean that the hearing will happen because they didn't say that they were not guilty?
Well, when we spoke with the SLA this afternoon, all they indicated was that this particular official that we spoke with was not aware if they submitted a plea or not. It could be that they submitted a plea, and it's just that this particular official had not gotten word of that yet, or it could be that they did not submit anything. So it's just that he was not aware.
Understood. Okay. Are there any questions from the committee? Do you feel clear on the issue. And if there aren't any questions, then I would wonder if any, so yeah, if we want to make a motion to resolve. And so I guess it would just be like resolving, like sharing information. I don't know, what does that resolution look like?
Well, most likely it would be, the whereas clauses would probably list a lot of the information that we've gathered so far from the community, a description of the complaints, and a description of the information that we have found out from the SLA.
I guess I'm wondering.
And then the resolve would probably be, I'm sorry, resolve would probably be something like support the revocation of this license, the Lava Corp doing business as Marshall Street. That could be one, that's one resolve. If the committee wanted to add additional language specifically about the operators of Lagos, I guess it could, but the revocation hearing, its subject would be just this license, because the people who are running Lagos, they are not the subject of this revocation hearing because it's not their license.
Right. They're like a piece of it, but they're not. Yeah, that makes sense. So it would be a resolution of support of the revocation or cancellation of this license, if anyone wanted to make that motion. But I also see that a member of the public had their hands raised. I think this was going to be more informational, right? Should I?
Yes, if it's a question or a very, very brief, if it's a question, perhaps the committee could entertain that. But given that the applicant is not here and there's not actually a formal application pending before the committee at this time, any testimony or lengthy statements would probably not be appropriate tonight. Will Mr. Vinci, would you please identify yourself with your full name and give your affiliation and state your brief question?
Hi, my name is Michael Vinci. I live in the community very close to the establishment in question. I'll keep it brief per your comments, but I just want to say Marshall Street has not been here since 2019. So I understand that the legality of this is what it is, but I would hope in the committee's comments that they include the fact that these operators have been obnoxious isn't even the right word. They received a violation this Friday and a fine for the music from the DEP, and they've done nothing since then to abate the issue. Not to mention the smoke entering my apartment every single day, causing all the issues that sounds like you guys are well abreast of. Coughing and watery eyes. It's insane. The fire department has been here to document the issue as well. So I would just hope that in the committee's response, they include the fact that Marshall Street is not the current operator and that all the community complaints are coming from the current establishment, the current owner who is using the license, even if it's not his. I would hope that gets fed in, because if they are allowed, if the current operator is allowed to apply, these issues don't go away. Thank you for your time, guys.
Thank you, Michael. Noted. And we'll try to figure out how to include that in.
The SLA did mention something about that. They understand that there are kind of two sets of parties here. The people who hold the Marshall Street license and are currently sort of in trouble with the SLA because they're letting folks use it who aren't supposed to be using it. And then the folks at Lagos who are actually using it. And the SLA did indicate that if Lagos were to try to apply for its own license, as we thought they were going to do tonight, but it seems like they have taken ill, the SLA will be scrutinizing it quite a lot because of the things that seem to be going on now.
That's good to hear.
It does seem like another member of the public would like the floor. Ms. Mason, if you could identify yourself with your full name and state your affiliation and your brief question.
Hi, yeah, Allison Mason. I reside at 310 East 49th Street. I'm also a member of the board of our co-op board, but I'm here in my personal position, not as a board representative. But I just want to highlight, I don't know that we should assume that Lava 164 LLC allowed Lagos to use their license. Lagos has been a scofflaw since they opened, whether it's parking tickets, otherwise. So not getting their own liquor license and using the one that was there without the previous licensee's permission seems like it might be something they would do. That's all I want to say.
Thank you. Okay. So are there any motions here from any committee members? If I were able to, I would make a motion to.
Claire, in committee, parliamentarily, according to Robert's rules, in a what they call a small group, or what we call a committee, the chair is permitted to make motions. If it's not done very often. They try to avoid it if they can, but parliamentarily, the chair can.
Okay.
The committee does not have to second it, but
right. We'll see if anyone seconds this, but I do
in a
think,
full board setting, the chair is asked to refrain from doing that, though.
got it. Okay. Thank you for the clarification. I won't use this widely, but I do think tonight, having the background that I have, and I think that it's a late night and people might not be totally on it, but I would like to make a motion to create a resolution in support of the revocation or cancellation of Lava's liquor license should we be asked to submit testimony.
Does this have to be seconded?
Every motion has to be, this motion would have to be seconded, yes.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Anton. And that was, okay, yeah. So at this point, we'll vote on it. Do you think we should do a roll call to vote, or do you think I can?
That's up to the chair.
Let's do a roll call on this one just because it's complicated, and I hope people are still with us, but I just want to make sure that people get their voices heard here. So Alexandra, sorry, but do you mind doing the roll call again?
Yeah, of course. I'm going to start. Claire Brennan.
In favor.
Charles Fernandez.
In favor.
Paige Judge.
In favor.
Anton Malner.
In favor.
Seema Shah.
In favor.
Michael Devereaux. Michael. Michael. I'll come back. Dan Devine. Dan Devine. I'll come back again. Jeannie D'Onofrio.
In favor.
John Keller,
In favor.
Kevin O'Keefe,
In favor.
Michael Devereaux,
In favor.
Dan Devine. Dan, are you there?
With no response, he is not present for this vote.
Okay. So in that case, the resolution passes with 9 in favor.
Thank you, everyone. And I will write this and rely heavily on Jesus and Alexandra, as I have so far with this issue. Again, really appreciate you both for trying to get to the bottom of this. So thank you, and thanks everyone. Okay, that is that. Now on to my report, which I am going to waive tonight because it's a little late and I'm hungry. But does anyone have any old or new business that they want to share briefly? And again, I'm sorry about the ghost restaurants. I'll bring that back next meeting. But if anyone has any points that they want to add or make to that, I'm available on email. But without further ado, okay, so no one has old or new business, right? We're all set here. Does anyone have a motion to adjourn?
Hey, Claire, real quick. Sorry,
Yeah.
Claire.
Okay.
I was just wondering, just so I can have it for my records, who are the resolution writers for Molly and 1-2 tie?
I don't know if I wrote that down here.
I'm doing 1-2 tie, and this is Jeannie. I wrote them down. Hold on, I can't find them.
I think Michael, you were doing Molly, I think, because I think that's. Am I right? I'm not sure. That's kind of what I'm remembering.
Yeah, I was doing Molly's, correct.
Okay.
Okay.
And then Jeannie, you're doing 1-2 tie?
I believe so. I wrote them down now. I can't find them.
Yeah, I think you. Yeah, it was
two.
that one
Oh,
in
yes.
Sucker Punch.
Yeah,
right?
Sucker Punch
Yeah.
and 1-2 tie. Yep.
Okay. Thank you. Just wanted to make sure.
Thanks.
I'm doing 2 as well. Horny Ram and the barbecue. My notes are here somewhere, but I have 2 as well.
Yes, I got it. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for stepping up. I love the diversity of our volunteers this evening. So shout out to everyone who offered to do these.
Shout out to you, Claire. Great meeting.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
For bearing with me and for all of your contributions always. Really appreciate you guys. But without further ado, do we have a motion to adjourn this long meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We are in agreement here, and that does not need a second. So with that.
Does Kevin have a question before?
No, I played by the rules and I raised my hand for that.
Thank you, Kevin. At this point,
I took the order from the chair who reminded us that we must raise our hand.
No, I'm sorry. And now here I am letting you all speak out of turn, but no rules after 9 p.m. Actually, don't quote me on that, but it is late night. So thank you again, everyone. Seeing no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 9:14 p.m. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you to the office.